Okay, hold on a minute.
Hello.
Be careful. I don't need you tripping.
Mayor, you ready? Everybody
Yes, sir.
ready? Okay, today is Tuesday, January 18th. It's the regular council meeting. It's 6:30. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Okay, Counselor Bahoviak? Counselor Gowdy? She's on her way. Counselor Martin?
Present.
Counselor Smith? Counselor Stevenson? You have a quorum.
Okay, let the record reflect we have a quorum. Okay, the mayor's here. Also. Remarks of the public on agenda items. Here comes Gowdy.
Okay, Counselor Gowdy's present.
Let the record reflect
Careful.
Council Ward 2. Juanita Gowdy is present. We have a full house.
Hello, everybody.
We don't have anybody from the public here.
Anybody from the public would like to speak? 2 minutes.
Nobody on Zoom either.
There's people on Zoom, but nobody raised their hand.
Reports and announcements from Mayor Brandon King.
Thank you, Council President. Just move over here, so I'm 6 feet. Everyone,
It's supposed to be 6 feet. Wearing masks.
6 feet without that.
6 feet.
Just raise your voice a little bit and I'll get you good.
So, try to keep my remarks tonight short. However, I would like to, first of all, let me start by welcoming all the residents that are here, some residents coming in now, and congratulating and welcoming our new city council, those of you who were recently elected, and those of you who are re-elected. This is actually the first meeting, scheduled meeting of council per the charter, Tuesday and Thursday, first and the third. So this would be the first meeting. I'd like to thank council. I was at the agenda review last week. I'd like to thank you for bringing back the agenda review. Snow plow, snow trucks. So one of the council asked me, had I been getting calls? I bought this down. Just to have fun with it. So those of you who have been with us for a number of years know that it was 2019. I spent designing trucks, speccing the trucks out, putting the trucks out to bid. We got all the numbers and brought it down to council. Number of complications. And as you know, for the last over a year, I'd say much legislation has languished in the purview of council. So I'd like to thank council for bringing a lot of this legislation that has been sitting in your quarters, for bringing it out, voting it up or down, right? But not sitting on it any further. So when I got the calls, I took full responsibility as the mayor, as the CEO. I run the day-to-day. I had no choice but to take that. But those who asked, there were a number of residents who asked about the salt trucks that I've been trying to get since 2019. Right? I hope that you would consider passing legislation. Once again, is in your purview for the new salt trucks so that we can adequately maintain the streets when a storm as such does come, right? The day the storm came, we were out doing snow plowing and Murphy's Law took hold, one of the trucks went down. Of course, that was the used truck that we bought. There's no way to know that that particular piece would go down until, of course, it starts snowing and you're operating everything on the truck, right? So again, this is a team effort. I really appreciate you taking the stuff that's just been sitting there, bringing it forward. Now to discuss it, I would appreciate a good look and a passage of the vehicles, the master lease, understanding that we're looking at a year or better to have these things built. Let's move forward as a team. Okay, so Black History Month. Many of you have heard my spiel before as to why I do this and how I dedicate it to our now council president, Councilman Nathaniel Martin. Start off on the back, we talk about Martin Luther King. And I have a dream. Not gonna give you an I have a dream speech. However, what most of what you're looking at talks about is the race massacre that happened in Tulsa, right? So I would ask that you all search and toy with your imaginations as to the similarities that exist between Tulsa and East Cleveland, vis-a-vis destroying the city, right? From within. I'm also proud to say there's a guy named Phil Armstrong. I didn't bother to print this out for you, but Phil Armstrong is a buddy of mine from college, from OU, right? We hung out together. He is the lead on this, right? I would ask that you take a look at it, go online, look it up. Beautiful facility that they built in honor of what happened in Tulsa. One of the things that I learned that I did not know is that Tulsa, Oklahoma was rebuilt twice. First time they built it, it was blown up. A number of them were still there, and they actually put their money together to rebuild again. The second time, and you've heard this throughout the years, federal government put in a freeway. You'll learn more about that if you just go on this site, and I do plan on at some point trying to get out there to look at it. Council President, that concludes my report. Unless you have any questions,
Thank you. I just want
concerns, comments.
to, the truck that went down is get repaired. What's going on with that?
So what happened? If you think about a salt truck has a regular truck that's running.
Mhm.
And then in the winter, when you cut on the salt spreader, it operates off of a different battery. The alternator went out trying to charge. So now that truck's done until we can get the alternator fixed and then charge the batteries, because it's no use if the alternator is down. So I'm not sure if it is fixed or not. Clamor, would you happen to know?
Parts ordered, I should have it tomorrow and we'll get it fixed.
There you go.
That's good news.
Yeah, so we've been using the Chevys that we purchased, try to take care of that. A number of residents have called, like, hey, they just went down the middle of the street. We're trying to get the middle of the street, every street we can, and then come back, kind of tighten you up a little bit. We're doing the best we can. Again, council as a team, right? I did my part. I researched it, put the bids out, got the specs together, brought it down to city council. I need you to do your part, pass the legislation to allow me to purchase these vehicles so that this time next year, hopefully we'll have new salt trucks. I won't have to scramble like I did 2 months ago and buy a used one, sight unseen, just so we have something.
Anyone else has any questions for the mayor? Go ahead, Doctor.
Mayor, you talk a lot about salt trucks. And in a storm like this, salt is the least of what we need. Salt is even to some extent counterproductive. So I'm hoping for more emphasis on plowing and save the salt and the ice.
Thought you were gonna go into brine. We used to sell ice. brine is a better material, right? I like the brine. Brine, if you think of a thick syrup molasses, brine is a much better, they use that in different parts. Here, we use ice melt. Ideally, what we would like to do is pre-wet the pavements with a liquid, right? And then come back with the salt on top of it. That would be the ideal maintenance of snow control. But I do know ice and snow control because we used to sell the product.
I've been hearing a lot about people using brine that's related to the fracking fluids, and that it's considered by some people dangerous.
So the opposite to that. So if you use a corn brine, sugar base, you actually be helping the vegetation, right? So it just depends on which one you use.
But I'm hoping that we will never buy brine that is associated with that.
It's not feasible to do brine here in Houston. It's more cost effective because Cargill and Morton, opposite ends of the city, and getting the salt right out of Lake Erie can't beat the price. So we'll more than likely stay with rock salt.
Thank you. Let's move
Okay,
on.
thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Receipts of communication, Madam Clerk.
And receipts of communication and petitions, there have been none.
Okay. Reports from council committees, any report, you might have some.
There's been no committees, not yet. No, they're gonna start meeting now.
Beginning of the year.
Correct.
Let's go to legislation.
All right, resolution number 0821. A resolution authorizing the mayor to accept the bid of and contract with 3D Moore, 2150 Noble, East Cleveland, Ohio, 44112, in the amount of $160,225 for the paving of the Martin Luther King Civic Center parking lot, 14801 Shaw Avenue, East Cleveland, 44112, utilizing proceeds from the Community Development Block Grant CARES Act funds. This is a second read.
Yes. Juanita Gotti, you are responsible for this. What's your pleasure?
Yeah, Michael is the sponsor because we did have bids in the past, and reviewing all these bids and stuff, we had to make sure that he was the right person. So I did take it out my community, and I did want to go for it.
Anyone from the administration want to say anything about this particular legislation?
So we be glad and thankful.
So,
Should
yeah,
we second
we have a
first?
second.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. We have a discussion now. Okay, go ahead.
I am glad and I'm thankful that you are moving this forward and that we're bringing this to a vote. As you know, we have been renovating the MLK now for over 2 years. This COVID is more than a notion, as we have had major delays due to materials, due to work. Whole crews will be out for a month with COVID. So thank you for finally moving this forward.
Any other discussion on this legislation?
Well, Mr. Chair, I'd like to co-sponsor this piece of legislation, please.
Let the record reflect Councilman Ernest Smith will co-sponsor legislation 0821. I think we've had the discussion now. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
You need a motion to adopt. You didn't have a motion to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt 0821.
So moved.
It's been moved by Dr. Blue, seconded by who?
I need a second.
You need a second. Seconded by Ernest Smith.
All right.
Okay, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Counselor Bahoviak,
Aye.
Counselor Gowdy,
Yay.
Counselor Martin,
Yay.
Counselor Smith,
Yay.
Counselor Stevenson. Abstain. Okay.
The legislation is passed.
Yep.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
Ordinance number 5721. An ordinance to authorize mayor to have the city join with Cuyahoga County in providing the 50%, $200,000 from the general fund of the city county, $400,000 match for the broadband portion of the EDA grant application submitted per ordinance 2720 for the purpose of developing high-speed broadband in East Cleveland based upon economic adjustment assistance funding from the U.S. Department of Commerce. This is a first read.
I would like to.
Okay,
I would also like to co-sponsor.
let the record reflect the sponsored by Corey Stevenson. We have two co-sponsors, Dr. Christopher Hovak and Juanita Gallo.
Counselor Smith, would you like to co-sponsor?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Counselor Martin?
Yeah, I'll co-sponsor.
All right, so it'll be count, all right.
Okay. From the administration, anyone want to say something about this?
Thank you.
Okay.
You don't know what they did already.
First reading.
It's a first read.
Yeah, let's go to the next one. Okay, put the co-sponsors down. Please.
I already did, sir.
All right, go to the next one.
All right, this is ordinance number 6721, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept the bid of and contract with Terrace Construction Company, 3965 Pearl Road, Cleveland, Ohio, 44109, for the combined Forest Hill Avenue Water Main Replacement Project between Cleveland Water Department, which share is $289,451.01, and the city of East Cleveland, which share of the remainder is $92,191.74 out of CDBG funds for a total combined cost respectively of $381,642.75. This is a second read.
Thank you. The sponsor is Juanita Gallo. What's your pleasure?
Yeah, I'm ready to move forward to me because of this.
Gotta speak up so they.
Speak up,
Okay. I recommend move forward with this because it's the work of city and.
thank you. Mayor, anyone from your property to say something about this real quick?
Yes, thank OHM and our
Yes, I can
representative,
just take it.
Keisha Chambers, for her hard work she's done. Thank you for moving.
Okay.
We just need a motion to adopt.
Yeah, we need a motion to adopt. Yeah, we're on 6721. Well, she did, Mayor, did you guys have any conversation lately with Tisha about this?
No. Is there any particular question that you have regarding this? This is for Forest Hill Avenue that would be from Superior going west towards Case. Much needed work up there, you know, it's like a roller coaster up there.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Exactly. Okay.
And the motion.
So I'm.
okay, you want to move it?
To adopt, motion to adopt.
Okay, it's seconded by Gotti. Moved by Gotti, seconded by Smith.
All right.
Okay, call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Counselor Bahoviak, Counselor Gaudy, Counselor Martin,
Yes,
Counselor Smith,
yeah,
Counselor Stevenson.
thank you. Madam Clerk,
But just for the record, that was yay. That was Martin that said, Councilman President that said yay twice.
No, I heard you.
Thank you, Steve.
It passed five. It was a unanimous pass. 5 yeas, unanimous.
Okay, Madam Clerk, go to the next one.
Resolution number 7921, a resolution to authorize mayor to enter into lease to purchase agreements for the acquisition of a Caterpillar Model 272 D3 skid steer loader in the amount of $67,981.24 for use by the service department utilizing general revenue funds. This is a second read.
It's the second reading. Okay, the sponsor for 7921. Who's the sponsor?
This is sponsored by Ms. Gowdy.
Gotti, okay, and we need a second.
I said,
Okay, anyone from the administration want to say something about this?
We talked extensively
Yeah, no, we have.
Thursday at the general review. Thank you for bringing that back. Thank you for moving forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
A motion to adopt?
Yes, I'll take a motion. The chair will accept the motion to adopt.
Okay, Ms. Gowdy.
Okay.
A second,
Moved and
please.
Seconded by Corrine Stevenson. No, go ahead. Go ahead,
I'll second.
Corrine. Hold on 1 second. Corrine has a question. Go ahead.
lease to purchase.
lease to purchase. Did you hear a question?
What was that?
Go ahead. Corey.
You have to go to the fiscal commission each year.
Yes, to lease to purchase it. So the way it works is first you pass it through city council, and then it goes to the fiscal commission for the final comes up.
I thought it was in reverse. The fiscal commission has to approve it first and then it comes.
No.
Well,
In fact,
where's
in fact,
Brother Henry? 'Cause we need-
Oh, Willa's online. Willa?
Yes,
Ms. Hemmons, there's a question
Yes.
for you.
okay.
Ms.
Hello?
Hemmons? Harris?
Yes. What's the question?
And she's on.
Hello?
Heather?
This is not part of the master lease program, no. This is just a
send her
separate independent purchase, lease to
I'm not
purchase.
sure if the Councilman Ernest Smith will remember, or if you, Councilman Martin, the very first time we leased something, we passed the legislation. 2 days later, we had a meeting upstairs. They drove up from Columbus just to give it the thumbs up. We were upstairs at 2:15. Remember they came up? Yeah, and it's because we passed the legislation through council. We wanted to beat a price increase. They drove up, and the others drove up, passed it that day.
Mhm.
Well, we got a question, it's holding it up, we need an answer. Will,
Okay, I'm sorry, what is the question? I'm sorry. What is the question? Can you hear me? What is the question? Yeah. Can you hear me?
They're asking you a question.
Yes, I'm on. I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
We can hear you now, Willa. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Yes, yeah. What exactly is the question? To clarify, this is not part of that master lease program. This is a separate independent piece of equipment that the service department needs for its operation. It's not part of any master lease program that was subject to scrutiny by the fiscal commission. This is separate and apart. It's been requested like 5 or 6 months ago. And it would help, well, in some of the operations of the service department, the skid steer loader. I need some help on exactly what that is in terms of
She
service.
wants exactly what the skid steer loader is.
So Willa, so the skid steer loader is, if you think of the front loader,
Yes,
think of the compact loader, smaller than that. The skid steer is smaller yet than the compact wheel loader. A little more agile, does a lot of things. You can use it in multiple tasks. Willa,
yes,
that has to be municipally financed has to go through the fiscal commission. Anything that has to be leased has to go through the fiscal commission. You have to
Right.
pass through council first. So this is a
Right.
lease owned, so it has to go through council, then go to the fiscal commission.
And that's, Will, that's the question is, does it go through council first, then goes to the fiscal commission?
of
That's the
course.
question.
Yeah, of course.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the chronology. I didn't know. I thought that it was about some other set of pieces of equipment that was being reviewed, but this one is has naturally, it has to be approved.
I think-
So is the process that the council votes on it, then it goes to the fiscal commission, that's the question on the floor.
Oh, yes, right.
Okay, because there are 3 pieces on here that are leased to purchase.
Yes,
Okay, they get passed first by council, then they go to fiscal commission?
of course. Yeah, I didn't know that. That was so fundamental. I didn't even think that, that would have
Yeah, that
been.
was just a question for the process.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Let's move on this thing.
Okay.
All right. Counselor Bahoviak,
Yay.
Counselor Gaudy,
Yeah.
Counselor Martin,
Yay.
Counselor Smith,
Yay.
Counselor Stevenson.
Yeah.
Passed unanimously.
Let's go to the next one.
Ordinance number 8021, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to give consent to the Director of Transportation for intersection safety improvements in the city of East Cleveland, Cuyahoga County, and declaring an emergency for the public health, safety, and welfare. This is an emergency, counselors.
This is 8021, correct?
Correct.
All right.
This is sponsored by Counselor Bahoviak.
Okay, Dr. Lloyd, go ahead.
I would like to sponsor ordinance number 8021 and move for its adoption.
Okay, you second it? Okay, you want to say anything about it, Dr. Lloyd?
I think we discussed this adequately. This
Yeah.
would improve the safety by having
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Lloyd.
Could I have a second to adopt?
I think we got a second. The administration, anybody from administration has anything to say about this? We,
Thank you, City Council.
everybody's okay? Okay, go ahead. Tracy.
All right. Counselor Bahoviak,
Yay.
Counselor Gaudy,
Yeah.
Counselor Martin,
Yay.
Counselor Smith,
Yay.
Counselor Stevenson.
Yeah.
It passes unanimously.
Let's go to the next one.
Resolution number 8121, a resolution to authorize the mayor to enter into lease to purchase agreements for the acquisition of a Caterpillar model 906M compact wheel loader in the amount of $103,594 for use by the service department utilizing general revenue funds. This is a second read. It is sponsored by Counselor Bahoviak.
Is there a sponsor?
I would like to sponsor resolution 8121 and
Is there
Second.
it's sponsored by Dr. Pete Rose, second by Councilwoman Juanita Gowdy. Any, what discussion, anybody want to add anything to this before we vote on it? Anyone?
support anything that will help our service department
Thank
to
you.
work more effectively.
My question, and thank you, Dr. Roulette, is what's the difference between this piece here and when we quoted on a little earlier?
So,
I get confused with that.
yeah, if you see the service guys out there, that's one's really, really big. That's called a wheel load.
Okay,
And when it gets smaller, which is the one you see most often because it's very nimble, that's a compact wheel load. Then when you see the little one, right, that is the skid steer. It's basically a tall, medium, or small, medium, large type thing, right?
okay,
And I would add, that with the trucks being down, we did use a number of these vehicles to help clear snow. That's the versatility of these vehicles.
thank you. Anyone else? Madam Clerk, let's go.
Okay, Counselor Bahoviak,
Yay.
Counselor Gaudy,
Yeah.
Counselor Martin,
Yes. Yay,
Counselor
yay,
Smith?
yay.
Counselor Stevenson.
Thank
Passes
you. Let's go
unanimously.
to the next one. Thank you.
Resolution 8521, a resolution to authorize the mayor to enter into an agreement with TKE Modernization care of Lou Goza for the installation of a city hall elevator in the amount of $235,989.86.
Okay,
This is a second read.
second reading, sponsored by you, Juanita Gowdy.
Yeah, but I had a question.
Go ahead.
The contract, did you get the contract with that?
We had so much
Agreement
discussion on
contract.
this. Answer, go ahead.
Yes, we did. We got the contract, questions that were asked, I want to say 2 weeks ago, were responded to and added to the contract. So remember last Thursday,
Because we asked for it. Did you get it?
Yeah, you've got the backup information from the emails and that's behind that piece of legislation.
all the records that she was provided.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, for the 10% and everything, right, that was all in there last
Oh,
week.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, very good.
Thank you,
I'll
Juanita
move
Gowdy.
forward on this, because we definitely need the elevator.
Anybody else want to have any discussion on this before we have a vote?
I just wanted to,
Go ahead, before we, go ahead.
I just wanted to thank the
Yeah,
administration
$200,000. Can't believe they passed that.
in the, contract that I had probably.
Kareem,
200,000 for it.
listen, everyone, listen, go ahead, Kareem.
Trying to figure out where the bids are. What they- I don't see. I just see this one bid.
I can thank you.
What's this bid?
Yeah, everything was in there.
Everything's there.
Mhm.
I didn't see the bid, I thought documents
There was quotes.
by somebody. But I don't see the bid.
Mayor, can you respond to that?
Yes.
Please.
So there were bids, there were two bids, pricing, quotes. It just depends on what you call it. A lot of times people think of bids as something you see in the newspaper, it's due by a certain time, a certain date, a certain time, and then they open it. That's a public bid RFQ. But on this particular thing, we just went out and got quotes. Now, I explained to you guys before about cooperative purchasing, state bid contracts, Sourcewell. I sent you all of that information numerous times on numerous things. So when you deal with cooperative purchasing, you don't have to have 3 bids. You can just go to one person because they've been vetted by the agency in which they hold that contract. In this one,
Right.
it would be the GSA, General Services State of Ohio. So it has been vetted. We do have the best pricing possible.
Thank you.
And you have 2 prices.
Thank you, Mayor. Anyone else?
2 prices.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Willa had
Madam
sent the information regarding that about what the process is for the vetting and that how like the cooperation works, the cooperative. So that was all included. I think we printed it all out, but she sent emails to everybody on that.
Thank you. Yeah, they are members of the state cooperative.
They're members of the state cooperative.
We
Yes.
got a council
All I
person.
have in this package is a email from Charles Trey. I don't have anything else. So that's what I'm saying, there's nothing else in here.
The fact It was in a different packet because
Well,
I know
I'm
that I-
saying that it's all here. That's what you just said that it's here.
I know that I've read that.
You been reading it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it may not be in the particular set of papers you're looking at, but it has been in our.
Then we have that. agenda review.
Yeah, it was, everything was in the agenda review.
Yeah. Madam Clerk, let's call for vote.
Okay, I need a motion to adopt.
We can do the vote, but how much was the other bid? Wasn't it higher? It is
Yeah.
way higher, okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
So,
I'll second.
okay, second, okay.
Yeah.
Straight, let's call for the vote.
Okay. Counselor Bahoviak,
Yay.
Counselor Gaudy,
Yeah.
Counselor Martin,
Yay.
Counselor Smith, Counselor Stevenson.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
Ordinance number 8721, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to continue the services for $5,500 of the Cuyahoga Soil and Water Conservation District for the purpose of providing technical assistance in implementing soil and water conservation measures in order to implement the public involvement and public education PIPE requirement under the Ohio EPA Municipal Separate Storm Sewer Discharge MS4 permit. This is the second read.
Is this sponsored by you, Money Valley? Okay.
Do you want to make a motion to adopt? A second?
You get that
I
second?
second.
Okay, anybody from, Mayor, from this, you want to say anything about this from this person?
Thank you for moving forward.
Okay,
Okay,
all
Counselor,
right, let's call
All
for
right.
the roll.
Counselor Bahoviak,
Yay.
Counselor Gaudy,
Yeah.
Counselor Martin,
Yay,
Counselor Smith, Counselor Stevenson. Passed by 5 unanimous.
thank you.
Resolution number 0222. A resolution authorizing the city of East Cleveland's participation in the Cuyahoga County Budget Commission Tax Advancement Program for fiscal year 2022 and declaring an emergency for the preservation of the public peace, property, welfare, health, and safety. This is an emergency.
Aren't we on 87?
Yeah, we're on 02/22. 02/22. That's what we're at. You see it? 02/22. This is a standard piece we do every year, isn't it?
Yes, it
You wanna
is.
say something about it, man?
So it's standard, it allows the county to advance us property taxes that are due basically to the end of the month. Actually, I think we do February 10th. By the time they get them, collect them and mark them up, it'd be about 6 months, but they advance us on that. And it's a conservative advance. And this is something that we do standard.
All right. Let's hear it, accept the motion.
This is sponsored by Corinne Stevenson.
Kareem, sponsored by you. It's your pleasure.
It's my pleasure to, move to adopt resolution 02.
Okay, seconded by one of the, yes.
I'm just gonna say
Okay.
that.
All right. It's been first, it's been a motion, it's been second. Call the roll. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Ms. Gowdy, did you motion to co-sponsor or are you doing both? Also second? Second as well as co-sponsor? All right, ma'am. Counselor Bahoviak,
Yeah,
Counselor Gowdy, Counselor Martin,
Yay.
Counselor Smith,
Yay.
Counselor Stevenson. It passes.
Okay, good. Okay, the next one.
Resolution number 0422, an ordinance to authorize the mayor to purchase 4 police 2022 black PIU Explorer vehicles fully outfitted from Montrose Ford, 3960 Medina Road, Fair Lawn, Ohio, 44333, a state cooperative member for $37,013.50 each for a total of $148,054, and declaring an emergency as the vehicles will not be available until 2023 if not purchased within the month.
I'm gonna pass it over to Vice President Hovia. And I'll sponsor, 042 move was adoption.
need a second,
Need a second. Go ahead, you run it. Go ahead.
second and one,
I'll second.
Okay.
sponsored by President Martin.
Okay.
And co-sponsored and seconded by Councilor Smith.
We had a very long discussion the last time we talked about this, a week or two ago. When we discussed it thoroughly, we looked at both sides, the pros and cons, and I think there's something we need to do. I'm ready to happen. Okay,
Ms. Councilor Stevenson.
yeah,
Pass, or maybe I could say, where are, in 2019, there's a resolution about it, 2020, there's a resolution about it, now 2022, there's another resolution about a vehicle. Where are the other vehicles? And where is the money for the set that was set aside for purchase of vehicles? I mean, are we ever gonna get delivery of vehicles? Or we just gonna keep passing resolutions?
Thank you, Council President. Great question. Great question for the residents who weren't here Thursday, and Councilwoman Stevenson, I realize you weren't here this past Thursday.
That
at
has
agenda
nothing to
review.
do with my question.
Well,
My
it kind of sort of does, because it was answered at length, and I would, if council
Would you
is
be-
so pleased, I'd like to bring up.
Would you be kind enough, we'll be glad, but if it's all right, long as it's running, but I'm.
I would like to, Vice President, bring up the police, and they can tell Councilwoman Stevenson exactly what happened with those vehicles.
I would be pleased to have the police come up and review what they told us in the past.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor, council.
Thank you.
This is Sergeant Clamrock, who's very familiar with the fleet. He's actually taking over a bit of maintenance for the entire city at this point, but
Thank you, council. So the way Ford, Chevy, Dodge is acting now, it's pretty much a year and a half to a year behind. So before they used to mass production police cars, throw them to all the dealerships, and we can go out and buy them. That's not happening anymore. So now we have to put our order in and we have to wait for Ford to actually build that car for East Cleveland. So now we're looking year to a year and a half out.
Speak to what happened on the other people.
Well, we ordered them and we received them and they were the wrong cars. Ford forgot to put spotlights on them. They gave us the wrong motors, so we did not accept those 4 cars. And that was 2 months ago?
2 months.
2 months ago. So those 4 cars should be here, they said March, so I'm saying April. We should have those 4 cars. Now, this ordinance is for purchase of 4 other cars, but now Ford has stated it's going to be 36 weeks before you will ever see these cars. Because they're so backed up. So so pretty much anymore, it seems like when we want to purchase cars, it's gonna be for the next year. So anytime we purchase cars, it's gonna be for the next year. Ford is pretty much a year behind.
So Ford is a year behind. That still makes us 2 years behind. Because we don't order cars, we keep ordering cars, but we're not.
We would have had those 4 cars, but Ford built them. They didn't put the spotlights on them, and I refused to accept them because they were just not what we ordered, and they wouldn't work for the city. It would have been a car for take-home detective car that has no equipment in it, and that would not work for us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'd just like to add that at the last, one of the recent meetings, we did discuss the issue with the chases, which council has passed a resolution to decrease the chases. And that there's one that I have received that was passed in Philadelphia about decreasing the stops that the police would do for minor offenses. I do intend to bring those up for discussion again in the future, so don't think anything else. I'd also like to mention for anyone who doesn't know that I requested and received an inventory of these vehicles, which helped to assist my decision making.
I believe that was, that was given to you.
Yes, that's what she's telling me. She got it, yes.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
If I'm not speaking loudly enough or anything, but I did request an inventory and I received it in a reasonable amount of time. And I thought it was very appropriate that you helped me with my decision making by doing that. So,
Can you share that with the
Isn't it?
should have been sent to everyone. wasn't
It's at the
it?
very back, Counselor. The very last 2 pages, I think in here. Or no, it's not on this. It was last week, but I'll resend it to you by email. Yeah.
Make sure you do that. I was just gonna thank you guys. We don't want something, if we wanted something and they get it wrong, we don't want it.
Correct.
Thank you for being on top of that. Okay. And I took my daughter last week to get a car, and they all passed up. It's a different situation now. Just wanted to do that.
Further questions?
Yeah, I don't mind supporting this, but like Dr. Patricia said, that the chases stuff is really outrageous, and we keep on with the same cars. I mean, even though we put those back, and we get ready to get more cars and more cars, we have to be careful because we don't have insurance, full coverage. If you hurt somebody like this. And suing us is like, wow, we got enough suits, cases where people sue us, so we have to be careful. So I will support this, I'm gonna keep my eyes on it too, on what's happening, because the chases should have been stopped after we passed to chapter.
And I will even add, it's okay, that we had a very long conversation about this. So you guys know how we feel. So I know there's discretion in all of this. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd also like to add that I shared with all of council and the police chief and probably some other people a recent discussion on a radio show called The Hidden Brain, a psychologist talking about the psychology of making stops and how to keep the city safe without frightening or harming residents, and with also decreasing the anxiety level of the police who might be stopping someone who they don't know what they're like to do, whether they're going to shoot them, whether they're going to. So I'm hoping that everyone will do that, because I think it's very interesting. It brings up a bunch of good possibilities and how to improve our policing without decreasing our safety, improve our safety for our residents and our police department.
Okay,
Anyway,
thank you.
everybody,
Thank you. Yeah, we're ready to vote.
Thank you, Council.
please call for the vote.
Counselor Bahoviak,
Yay.
Counselor Gowdy, Counselor Martin,
Yay.
Counselor Smith,
Yay.
Counselor Stevenson. Emergency is passed.
Thank you.
Let me, let the reflect that I'm passing the gavel.
Thank you, Dr. Holder. We march with respect for the public, 3 minutes. And I'm gonna tell them, we're gonna try to adhere to these 3 minutes. No, sometimes it rolls over. People call me and say, Martin, you let them go too long and all that, so we're gonna try to.
We got the timer.
Yeah. Okay, put the timer on. Okay, come on up, Lucy.
My name is Mike Supervisor, I said 145-17 Stratford. I had 3 issues that I wanted to talk about to you guys immediately. As I sit here, I got 2 more issues. I think that $160,000 is way too much money for a contract to put into. We don't even have kids in that neighborhood to go to that recreation center. Strathmore need to be paid. You pay Strathmore, you can sell some of these properties and get money, tax money back off of it. Why spend money when you don't get money back? That's, I don't want to say it, but you know what I'm saying. That's crazy. You put money into something that you're gonna get more money back out of. If you pay Strathmore, you can sell them lots on that street. That's $80,000 right there, going by with what I'm paying taxes on. And I've been calling City Hall. Somebody dumped tires all down my street. I've been calling
You're
City
Strathmore.
on Strathmore. I've been calling City Hall. Thank you, sir. I've been calling City Hall for 2 weeks. Nobody came. I take it personal because it's in front of my house, you know, and that's ridiculous, you know. Somebody, we ought to take these tires and bring them and put them in City Hall and let them do something with them. The First Amendment, every one of y'all sit up and on the bike say you will protect the First Amendment, right? Every elected office, okay? But seeing the First Amendment don't mean nothing to the people in my ward, in my district. It don't mean nothing because they violate their First Amendment every day. They arrest them and they have come to a property, to a house that they're arrested on a domestic charge and they end up towing all their cars out the driveway that had nothing to do with the case. You know, that's ridiculous. That's thievery. That's thievery. Okay? You using power to steal. You understand? And then, the towing the cars. You know, that's ridiculous to take people's cars. Now they got to pay $1,000 for a car that didn't have nothing to do. And the car was leased. It wasn't even owned. It wasn't even in the people's name. They leased the car. Okay? Now, why would you spend all this money on snow plows and you got streets that got holes all in them? As soon as the snow plow go down the street, it's gonna break. Fix the streets. Do stuff that make money for the city, not spend money. All these contracts you need to be looking into, because it smell like kickbacks to me. How you gonna pay, $200,000 for an elevator? Is that crazy? I can get you an elevator for $50,000. And that's overpriced. That's it.
Thank you. Any more response from the public? Domain?
Before I start speaking, I want the council to recognize and follow the law as well. You're saying you specifically stipulate that we follow the law. With 3 minutes, whatever, you have 5 minutes to stipulate what you to speak on, and not sit up here and go through this battlefield. Number one, council has the authority to authorize, appropriate, and legislate. Anytime a council, whether he or she, present or not, have questions in regards of whatever's on the legislation before they pass a vote on it, they have a right to ask questions. And they have a right to receive answers. Other than that, they don't have to. Because if you pass something, it may come back to haunt you. And so they have a right to ask questions. I don't care what has been discussed through that. They may have some more questions. So you can't limit them in asking questions in reference to legislation they got to vote on. Because it can come back to haunt and what have you. And I've seen that happen. And I'm speaking from experience, not speaking from what I think. No. Secondly, well, I said about the document. And then if they ask the document is to support the legislation that is not there or whatever, all documents, albeit, I'll put it that way, albeit that anything that comes up over $50,000 must be bidded out. That's the same as well as our charter stipulates the same identical thing. Must be bidded out. And there must be bids, and it be brought before council. That is the way government operates. And that's irrefutable. No one can refute that. I don't care who they are. Law director or no other director. That's the law. So you can mess around and get your posteriors in trouble about this stuff. And the car, and I'm glad to hear they said some of the cars that they have passed legislation to they have not received them, or they did receive them, but they were not operable
Right.
like they wanted. But I have a problem with the cars that we do. I know some cars they did receive, and what have you, they're constantly tearing them up. What happened to those cars?
What you say is valid, but your time is up now, Mr. Dominguez.
That's his question, though.
Okay, we'll get that. The mayor may answer, we may answer. Your points are valid. Okay, thank you, sir. Anyone else from the public? Anyone else? Okay. Thank you, sir.
My name is David Radcliffe.
David, what's the last name?
David Radcliffe Senior, I said 1868. I was going to start and say welcome to City Council. Dr. B, I don't want to get your name, but welcome to City Council. I was hoping you work for the city.
I have no problem with anybody mispronouncing my name until they've been around for a while. That doesn't apply to the mayor or the councilman. Anybody else, if you mispronounce Bohovia, that's perfect.
Second, I'm like my man, y'all gotta do better to get it upgraded up here. I need places up in over 20 years, and I don't get spots. I need my street pad, and street over, and terrace. I could do like terrace right here. That'd be about 251. By the old hospital, you know, that's a major way through. You know, and I've been down for years. We can just get some way that. Y'all get that done, and I'll jump up and down for y'all to get the elevator. The elevator ain't been fixed for about 30 years. And it was fixed, it was ragged anyway, so. Knock the whole building down, we get new elevator, new mayor office, new city council, new judge, everything. You knock the building down, and build a whole new building. That's my thing. Elevator should be. But, other than that, oh, third thing, where y'all passing this stuff, whatever going on, keep doing it. Pass. Get the city together.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Okay, remarks from the mayor?
Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. We can't kind of find some
Okay,
patients.
I'd like to thank you all for coming out tonight. Thank everyone that's on Zoom. Thank City Council for doing its part. in Helping to move this city forward. I was definitely behind that. Team effort. I work on the day-to-day, I work on the advancement, bring the legislation to you, legislate and appropriate. You did an excellent job tonight. Much needed legislation. Some of it has been in council's purview for over a year and a half. Thank you. Thank you. As residents, I'd like you to please be patient. Again, mention the salt trucks not being down in our challenges, using basically F-150s and Caterpillar equipment. I would like to comment on Terrace at Funeral Hospital. That road is closed. There's an underground water issue. It is my hope, right? What we've been hoping for is to have someone buy the apartment building, and there's been 2 or 3 companies out of state that have looked at it to acquire it, is to then barter the Funeral Hospital site, vacate that part of Terrace. Vacate that part of Terrace to make a cul-de-sac, something that they can walk right up into the park from the facilities there. So that part of Terrace will remain closed. We have talked to Cleveland Water extensively about the underground water leak, and they said it's just water. We have to clean it up. That's what Cleveland Water said. So they don't intend on fixing it. Unless there's any questions or concerns of me, Council President, that concludes my remarks.
Thank you. Councilman Smith?
Mr. President, I want to thank you. Great meeting.
Thank you.
Look like we want to end this in a little bit over an hour.
Okay.
Thank my colleague, everyone from the administration, great police officer, our great clerk, our new deputy clerk. Most importantly, I say the best for last. I want to thank the residents of East Cleveland who joined us, not only on Zoom, but in person, taking time out of your busy schedule to check on your health, interest, rights, and needs. Thank you. I also want to give a special shout out and thank you to our service department, as short-handed and short as we are on utilities. You know, they do what they can. I know a lot of residents don't want to hear the word patience, but I personally ask you to be patient when the snow is coming down hard like it was yesterday. You know, they can't, you know, they can do a street and 10 minutes later, it looks like they haven't even been over there. And again, just remember that they are very short staffed. And speaking of short staff, also, I'm glad the chief is here, because I also want to commend our police department. I saw them hopping out of cars, helping push vehicles out of snow banks yesterday. So I really want to thank you all on that. Mr. President, that concludes my brief statement.
Thank you, Brother Smith. Corrine Stevenson.
My comments are probably a couple of years old. Before COVID hit, and I don't know if you are in the conversation, but before COVID hit, we inquired about the lights in the parking lot. And we were told that the lights were going to be fixed. And then COVID hit. Well, been 2 years almost, and now we're back in council, and the parking lot is black. So when you walk outside in the parking lot, you pretty much keep yourself in danger. And I don't think you should be in danger coming into City Hall, and that has nothing to do with the council. That's where the residents and everybody coming and going, the police, everybody. in the darkness, you can't see, anything can happen. I would like some lights to be turned on in the parking lot. Municipal building lights don't look like that. Beechwood does not, their municipal building doesn't look like that. Maple Heights Municipal Building doesn't look pitch black when you walk up the street. So I would like that taken care of. This week I spent a lot of time with the repairs of Crystal Tower. That's finally completed. But however, there is an issue there with the street where the driveway abuts the street on Terrace Road. They had their driveway completed. And now we need to fix the street so that doesn't buckle and get damaged again. So those are my concerns. Thank you.
Ms. Dolly?
Yeah, I would like to thank everybody for coming out to me and for our new clerk, Justin Anderson. And, Deputy Clerk. And I just want you to know that, Martin had went through low sugar, and it was at the day we was concerned about him, and I want to give Tracy and the police officer and Justin how they worked quickly. When he was at home, we was looking for him to come to the Democratic Party, kept calling, and I sent you out there in the parking lot. So I came and told Tracy where y'all was at, and she did quickly because we've been calling Councilor Martin on the phone and couldn't reach him, and all of a sudden the police officers went over there and they acted quickly and they took care of the business and the phone Martin, Councilor Martin out. And he didn't look well at all, and a lot of us thought that he was gonna make it, but he's here today. Thank God for you to be here, and I just want to thank y'all from working quickly and acting quickly, because if it wasn't for that day that you had an event, Democratic Party, we wouldn't know what would happen. So I'm glad you're here today, and I want to thank each and every one.
Thank you. Dr. Pritchard Holbert?
We recently, as everyone knows, celebrated the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And everyone knows that I have a dream speech, which is a wonderful speech. But I think people often forget that Dr. King gave a wonderful speech called Beyond Vietnam that he gave at Riverside Church in New York, an anti-war speech. He was a supporter of universal health care. He was murdered when he was in Memphis to support a union, and he was a democratic socialist. The General Service and Administration have scheduled a meeting for Thursday. I have not yet heard confirmation that the other members are available, but Mr. Shabazz, you will be happy to know that I am trying to figure out the way the decisions are made on resurfacing streets, finishing the water. I was pleased to read that someone was suggesting that some of our stimulus funds could be used for repairing our water infrastructure. At any rate, that's something that I do hope to hear a lot from the administration about in the meeting on Thursday at 5 p.m. The other thing I've been doing lately is looking through the charter at the commissions and committees and boards that we're supposed to have in the city. And the list I've come up with so far, and this may not be complete yet, is the City Planning Commission, the Civil Service Commission, and these may be filled, they may not. I don't have the information yet. And I haven't even requested all of the information yet. The Architectural Review Board. There's a Community Development Block Grant meeting that I don't know anything about. The Board of Zoning Appeals, the Citizens Advisory Committee, which should have 50 people, 10 appointed by each member of council. The Historic Preservation Board, the Audit Committee, the Community Youth Commission, the Cable Television Commission, and I'm missing at least one.
RTA,
Pardon?
somebody RTA, and somebody posted on it.
Yeah, but that's not, oh, and the Charter Review Commission. Now, the Charter Review Commission was supposed to be appointed by Mayor Norton shortly before Mayor King took office. And according to our charter, it's supposed to be done every 8 years. So we got a number of years behind. And as I'm reading through the charter, I am finding a number of inconsistencies and a number of things that struck me as being poorly written. And I hope that we will get all of these boards and commissions and committees appointed and functioning. Because as I look again through the charter and through the resolutions and through all of the information that's coming at me, it's a lot of information. And all of these boards and committees and commissions serve as advisory to the council and the mayor and administration. And I hope that we will have them all filled in the near future. So anyone who is interested in being a member of the Citizens Advisory Committee, each one of us is to appoint 10 people. I hope to be hearing from a number of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Briefly, what I need to say, and I've said it, but I'll say it publicly. Tracy, Andrea, Justin Anderson, Chief Gardner, Brandon King, Belinda Powell, all you guys, thank you for coming to my aid. I think I worked too hard on this, the event that we had to debate. It worked out real well, it wouldn't be not being here. So thank you. Sometimes you can work too hard. So I want to thank you guys. I also want to thank the Gardner and Chief Worley and our police. I think we have some fine police. We hear so much negative stuff about police. I want to also thank you guys for listening to the concerns that we hear from the public about the chases. And I've seen myself, Brandon, where I can see that they're aware of that. So I know we don't live in a perfect world. We can't get it right. But I want to thank you publicly for according to my daughter, she's a registered nurse. She works in the University Hospital. I wasn't pretty bad to get. I think I worked too hard on that event. And I know that Corrine and Dolly and Kovac and all them stepped up. We had a great event. But like people say, well, how do you do it? I say, it's work. It's work. I said, this don't happen. This is no rocket science. You have to put in the work if you're going to get the outcome. And we're doing that. But I want to say that my attitude for 2022 is that we work together. And I pray on this. I pray on it. So if I get it wrong, let me know. And I'll get it wrong sometimes. But my attitude is a brand new day as far as I'm concerned. And we're gonna, this negative stuff we be hearing about these people, I'm hoping that it changes this. But it can't unless we all work together. And I'm comfortable about that. And I think that the people out in this really care about it. We have a unique situation in this city, and we can really be great. So keep that in mind. I want to thank the council and the mayor. We've had good meetings so far. So far it's going okay. So help us, okay? Do your part. Be positive. I just want to say thank you. You might have saved my life. Well, from what I hear, I was much worse than I did. I didn't know I was that bad. Okay, but it's God works in mysterious ways, and I think in terms of me serving and doing what I do, He's not through with me yet. Okay, so I can't do without Rovac. I can't do without Stevenson. I can't do without God. I can't do without Brandon King. But all you guys play a role in this. That's the only way we're gonna get this done. Thank you, I have spoken. I accept the motion for adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, means adjourned.
The
Thank you.
time is 7:40.
All in favor? Aye, I'm sorry. Thank you, guys. Thanks for coming out. Okay, we need your help. We need your support. Thank you.
Thank you for your attendance. Pen.
Pen.
This is what, is it ready?